because unless you face challenges in life, you will never become a confident one and a skilled one. So today's whose birthday it is? It is the great movie actor Shivaji Ganesan. So he was born today, 110 1928. He is a great Tamil hero. So for decades, two people have ruled the whole Tamil cine world, M.G. Ramchandran and Shivaji Ganesan. And one of them is Shivaji Ganesan. And he says, cover your unconditional love, even if it might be a stranger. So it doesn't matter who the other person is, just your character is to cover your love. Not even let your left hand know when your right hand is donating. So you have, whenever you do some good thing, do it in privacy. Okay, don't do it for a show. So in a career that spanned close to 5 decades, he had acted 288 films in Tamil, Telugu, Kannada.
Sir, voice very low.
He was the first Indian film actor to win a Best Actor award in an international film festival, the Afro-Asian Film Festival held in Cairo, Egypt in 1960. So the another person, the famous businessman Dilip Sanghi. So he is very famous. Dilip Sanghi is an Indian billionaire businessman and one of the country's richest people. He founded Sun Pharmaceuticals. India Today magazine ranked him 8th in India most powerful people of 2017 list. According to Forbes, as of October 2019, Sanghi is the 12th richest person in India with a net worth of 6.9 billion US dollars. So he says, I like to win without fighting, but if I can't, then I am prepared to fight. So Dilip Sangvi, if you see how he's gone into his career. So first, initially he was worked as a man, as a he worked as a medicine and drug distributor, but now he surpassed Mukesh Ambani as the richest Indian founder of Sun Pharma. Okay, today we will go to the 18th class. In the last class, we have discussed about TDS relations and we got change of entropy for various processes. And then third law of thermodynamics we discussed and problems and entropy we have done some problems. And then we have discussed about what entropy means. And then we have derived Bernoulli equation from steady flow energy equation. And then we have seen how these isobars and isopores will be on TS diagram and whose slope is more and how the slope behaves and how the curve changes. And then we discussed about Mollier diagram and then we make some remarks about it. So we will see just quickly. So we have got these expressions for change of entropy for different processes. We got three relations. Uh, so one in terms of temperature and volume ratios, one in terms of pressure and volume ratios. Based on the process that we use, we can use any one of the equations. So if isopore is there, we have to take the equation which is having P2 by P1 because that becomes 0. For isobar, P2 by P1, log P2 by P1 is 0. For isodem, log P2 by P1 is 0. So whichever simplifies our situation, we can
Sir,
use
your
that.
voice is very low.
And because we get only change of entropies, we have to define a reference state. So that we defined by third law of thermodynamics by Nernst and Simon. And the entropy of a pure crystalline substance at absolute zero temperature is 0. Since there is no uncertainty about the state of molecules at that instant, we have taken entropy to be 0 at that point, and that is taken as the reference state. And any entropy with reference to that is called the absolute entropy. And we have done a problem when ice at minus 5 degrees centigrade is taken, and if it is exposed to the atmosphere at 20 degrees centigrade, finally it comes to an equilibrium up to 20 degrees centigrade. So we are asked to find out what is the entropy change in the universe. So we have taken the water as a system and the atmosphere as the surrounding. And in the system also we have taken it as 3 steps: sensible heating of ice, latent heat addition, and sensible heating of water. And we got the total heat transfer, and we got the total change in entropy. So when it is changing its phase, not changing its phase during sensible heat addition, I have to take Cp dt by T or log Cp, Cp log T2 by T1. Okay, so that formula is to be used for sensible heat addition for liquid water and ice. And for latent heat addition, because temperature is constant, I have to take Q by T. So Q is the latent heat. In that way, I can find out what is the delta S of the system. And the delta S of atmosphere, because Q is taken by system, Q is lost by atmosphere. So that will be a negative change in entropy. So which is again Q by T because T is constant. So this is negative minus 1.46 and I get the net change in the entropy of the universe. And then if I want to bring it down back to 5 - 5 degrees centigrade, so what is the minimum work needed? That is asked. So again, we take delta S of system is because I have to use a refrigerator. So we have to find out the total delta S, which must be greater than or equal to 0. So
Good
using
morning, sir.
I find out what is W minimum that is to be
Good morning, sir.
refrigerated to get the system.
Hello, excuse me, sir.
Today we had on the problem. And
Excuse me, sir.
isobars and isopods on a TF diagram. So we have seen that the slope of the isopore is T by Cv, slope of isobar is T by Cp. So we know that Cp is greater than Cv, so T by Cv is greater than T by Cp. So slope of an isopore is greater than slope of an isobar. And other things also we have seen as temperature increase, the slope increase both for isobar and isopore. And so the isopores and isobars are diverging lines on a TS diagram. That's what we have discussed. And then Bernoulli's equation we have taken steady state energy equation. And when you deal with a fluid mechanics problem, there is only flow, no work transfer, no heat transfer. So if delta W reversible and delta W reversible is made to 0, so dH plus d of Ke plus d of Ke is 0. And because I assume it is irreversible and the reversible and inviscid. I can take TdS equation. TdS is 0, so dH is equal to VdP. So if I substitute that, so VdP I write it as dP by rho, and I get this Euler's equation. If I integrate this, I get what is called the Bernoulli equation. So the assumptions that we make are it should be a steady flow, it should be incompressible flow, it should be reversible flow. Okay, I have to correct it, and then inviscid flow. And also we have seen that entropy gives a direction, and sometimes it is called as arrow of time. Okay, this is very important word. People say entropy is an arrow of time. That is, it goes only forward direction. Time moves only forward direction, and entropy moves in the increasing direction. So S then is greater than or equal to 0. So for every process, there should be increasing the entropy, and which we call it as finally it reaches equilibrium state, which is called as the death of the universe. And it is a non-conserved property. I can write the balance or entropy balance equation, but it is not conservation. Mass is conserved, energy is conserved, entropy is not conserved, it increases. Okay, so this is the way we discussed, and this we have seen how a TF diagram look like, and so horizontal lines are isogens, vertical lines are isentropic lines or reversible adiabatic lines, and the constant pressure line will be like this. Okay, it goes this way for different pressures. As pressure increase, so this line goes up till the critical state. Okay, so then it goes like this without touching this line because there is no change of state also. Okay, now we will come to the present day's topic. Okay, reversible adiabatic work is
Hello, sir.
in a steady flow system. It is not easy in a steady flow system. If you take a steady flow system, what is the reversible adiabatic work? Okay, so if I take the complete steady flow energy equation, delta T is equal to dH plus d of K plus d of P plus delta W. This is per unit mass flow. If I have to take small letters. Delta T is equal to like this. It is kilojoule per kg. If it is for full mass flow rate, then it is kilowatt. Okay, so this d of Ke is TdC and d of Pe is GdZ. Okay, in the for reversible process, TdS is equal to 0 And if you consider a process with no change in potential energy and kinetic energy are negligible, then these are all zero. So TdS is equal to dH plus delta W reversible. Okay, this is reversible, and that's why delta Q reversible is TdS. I have substituted. Okay, so when you take this, TdS is equal to 0. Okay, because it is reversible. So dH plus delta W reversible is equal to 0. And also we have TdS relation, TdS is equal to dH minus dT. So this is 0. So what we conclude from this is delta W reversible is equal to minus dH, and minus dH is, so if dH is VdT, so minus dH is minus VdT. So this is the equation we come across. Delta W reversible is equal to minus dH is equal to minus VdT. Okay, this is important relation. And if you remember, delta W for a closed system is integral PdV. Delta W for reversible or flow system is minus VdT. Okay, this is important. So when you take a process 1 to 2, if I take area down on the x-axis, then that is integral PdV. But if I draw lines if I take this area, that area will be integral VdV, minus integral VdT, because it is compressed. So whenever there is compression, there will be negative work. So that's why it's minus integral VdT. Okay. So examples of steady flow machines for compression are which are called as work absorbing machines. We have pumps and compressors. These are work absorbing machines. There are work producing machines where there is expansion, like steam turbines, gas turbines, these things. They are work producing machines and they are expansion. Right? So expansion means 1 to 2 and compression means 2 to 1, like this. Okay? So like this, the main difference here, what we conclude from this particular slide is, for a closed system, the work transfer is equal to integral PdV. For a flow system, the work transfer is equal to minus integral VdT. Any questions? Is it okay? You can't listen. Hello? I don't know why it is. Is on. Hello? Is it okay? Hello? No, not clear. I don't know why, what is happening. It's audio. Hello? Hello, is it okay? No, I don't know what is happening. Okay, shall I try with laptop? Now is it okay? Hello? Hello? No. So from the beginning it is not okay, it's low. Now? Okay, now? Now could you hear any voice? Even worse, sir. We don't have absolutely no, because it is Bluetooth one I have kept. My what? Okay, for headset there is nothing like pairing and unpairing. No? It's only putting the plugs only. For the Bluetooth only there will be.
Is it okay now? Okay. I'm using laptop. Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, we are talking about flow work. So as I told, for a closed system, the work transfer is equal to integral PdV. For a flow system, the work transfer is minus integral VdP. And the examples for steady flow devices are pumps and compressors for work absorbing machines, and steam turbines and gas turbines for work producing machines. Then if you see the compressor work, I want to minimize, and expansion work, I want to maximize. Because negative work, I have to reduce. Okay, when I am in depth, I have to reduce the depth. When I am having profit, I have to increase the profit. So during compression, I have to reduce the work. During expansion, I have to increase the work. Okay, now if I take one is the initial state, and it is to be, this is the initial pressure, and this is the final pressure to which I have to compress. So for which I am using a compressor. Okay, so I can do in different ways, right? I can go by this line or this line or this line. And you know that isentropic line is more steeper than isothermal line. So if I draw different lines with different slopes, you can see that the least slope curve is isothermal, where n equal to 1 in PV for n equal to constant. And the steeper one is isentropic one, so which is n equal to gamma. Anywhere between 1 and 1.4, there can be curves of different slopes between these two. Okay, so that is the way it will be. And if I have this type of processes, from the figure itself, you can understand which process will take less work. So which process will take less work? Which process require less work? isothermal, right? You can see the area. It is not the area above x-axis. It is area towards y-axis. Integral VdP. Is it okay? So that is this area towards y-axis. So this line will give me less work. Will take less work, and this line, isentropic line, will take more work. Okay, the area is more when it is taper. So when it is less slope, the work is less. So isothermal is preferred compared to isentropic compression. Okay, but okay, if you want to see what is the work done for each, delta W is equal to minus integral VdP or minus integral dH or H2 minus H1, or it's not H2 minus H1, H1 minus H2. Okay, and because it is minus, W12 is equal to H2 minus H1. Okay, so H2 minus H1 is Cp into T2 minus T1, and the Cp is gamma R by gamma minus 1. So gamma R by gamma minus 1 into T2 minus T1. If I take T1 out, so it is gamma R T1 by gamma minus 1 into T2 by T1. T2 by T1 for an isentropic process is T2 by T1 to the power of gamma minus 1 by gamma minus 1. This is the isentropic compression work. Isentropic compression work. If it is polytropic compression, just replace gamma by n, n or T1 by n minus 1 into T2 by T1 to the power of n minus 1 by n minus 1. And if it is isothermal compression, it is RT1 log T2 by T1. If you remember, in the integral PDV, we got P1 V1 log V2 by V1. Okay, so here P1 V1 log P2 by P1 I will get, because PV is equal to constant, just P and V gets replaced. Okay, so I will get RT1 log P2 by P1. P1 V1 is nothing but RT1. Okay, so this is the isothermal work. So these are the works for different processes. And if you take some pressure ratio and some initial temperature, and if you calculate, you can see which is more. For all the values, you can find out. So as I told, W12 isothermal, this will be minimum, right? This is less. So sometimes I didn't write here. We define what is called as isothermal efficiency. Okay, isothermal efficiency means isothermal work by actual work. So N can be anything from 1 to 1.4. So I have to find out what is the actual work and which is more than the isothermal work. So isothermal efficiency is equal to isothermal work by actual work. When we do a problem, we are going to use that particular formula. So W12 isothermal is less than W12 polytropic, which is less than W12 isentropic. So W12 decreases as N decreases. If it is coming from 1.4 to 1, as N decrease, the W12 decrease. Compression work decrease. And during compression, temperature increases. So if I want to have isothermal process, what happens? Because it is compressed, naturally temperature increase. Then it is not isothermal. It becomes polytropic or adiabatic. So what should I do? I have to somehow dissipate the heat that is generated during the compression to make it to make the temperature constant. Okay. So during the compression process, temperature of our internal energy increases. If we provide sufficient cooling and maintain its temperature to be constant, we can approach isothermal process, which minimizes the work. And how to do that? There are various ways, right? We can have air cooling or water cooling. Okay, if you want to have air cooling for the cylinder, I have to put fins over that. So if you just, because in your younger days you might have used cycle, and when you want to have cycle to be pumped, you might have gone to the cycle shop, and so that fellow you might have seen in that shop, there is a compressor, right? A two-stage reciprocating air compressor will be there, and using that actually supplies the air to you, high pressure air. And if you see the cylinders there, you will have fins over the cylinder. Just like if you see an IC engine, motorbike IC engine, you will see fins over the cylinder on the circumferential fins, they are called as. Okay, it is to have air cooling. Okay, to increase the surface area And to increase the heat transfer, we provide fins over the cylinder. And if you, okay, that is air cooling. And if you want to have more cooling, better cool it with liquid so that heat transfer will, the rate of heat transfer will be high. So you can have a cooling water jacket, and you supply water from one side and it goes to the other side, and it takes up the heat from the cylinder and it maintains a constant temperature. In that way, we can have a isothermal compression to minimize the work by providing proper cooling process for the cylinder. Is that clear? Any difficulty? Please respond. It's okay? Satish? Okay, anybody else? Okay, Ravan? Okay, thank you. Now I am happy, it's going on well. I think laptop is better. Okay. Then, so we will have another small thing. Prove that steady flow devices deliver the most and consumes the least when the process is reversible. Okay. So when the process is reversible, a positive work will become maximum, more, and a negative work will become minimum. Okay. So that is when I am getting a turbine work, if it is reversible, I will get more work. If I am supplying work to the compressor, if I can make it reversible, then I have to supply minimum work. So because I eliminate the losses by making the process reversible, that is like friction, inertia, and all these things, if I can overcome, so I can have best method. Okay. And it is just to prove, it is not necessary actually. We already have proved that efficiency of the reversible process is greater than, is less than efficiency of reversible process. In the similar way, here we are going to show that W reversible is greater than or equal to W actual. Okay, for expansion. Okay, consider two steady flow devices, one reversible and one irreversible. And actual, delta Q actual minus delta W actual is equal to dx plus d of Ke plus d of Te. For reversible also, only actual is replaced by reversible here. The right hand side will be same because these are all properties. H2 minus H1, C2 square minus C1 square by 2, GZ1. So whether it is actual or reversible, the RHS will not change. Okay. So this is equal to this, this is equal to this. So this left hand sides will be equal. Delta Q reversible minus delta W reversible is equal to delta Q actual minus delta W actual. Okay. If you divide this by T, both sides, and delta W reversible minus delta W actual by T is equal to delta Q reversible by T minus delta Q actual by T. And delta Q reversible by T, we know that this is delta ds. And for actual process, ds is greater than or equal to delta Q by T. And by adding these two, it will become positive, greater than or equal to 0. So delta W reversible minus delta W actual is greater than or equal to 0. Means delta W reversible is greater than or equal to delta W actual. Okay. So this is what we have proved. If it is work producing device, W is positive, so it delivers more work. If work consuming device such as pumps and compressors, W is negative, then less work is needed when operating reversibly. Okay. So that's what previously also I was talking. And for a compressor, if it is reversible, I have to supply less work. For a turbine, if it is reversible, I can get more work out of the turbine. And so here, we go to this particular reciprocating air compressor. Okay, if you just actually, I have to tell some more things later. Okay, first I will consider reciprocating air compressor. How this works? So there is a cylinder and a piston. There is an inlet valve and there is an exit valve. Okay. So when it is going back, the inlet valve, because here the pressure gets reduced, right? So vacuum created and inlet valve gets open. These are one-way process only. So it can be opened only this side. It cannot open this side. And this also it opens only outside, not this side. So when it is going this side, so because of the low pressure here, the suction valve gets open and this is closed. So it goes back. So when it is going back, assuming that it is going slow, the constant pressure, here outside atmospheric pressure, and at the constant pressure, the air will go in. Okay, so this is the process. The volume inside increases from zero volume to, first I will consider without clearance volume. This is a case without clearance volume. That is, it is initially zero volume, gradually the air is sucked and it goes to this particular point. Okay, so suction is over. It takes some amount of air from the atmosphere into the cylinder, and then we compress it. Okay, so when it is compressed, so what happens inside, the pressure increase, so this gets closed. Okay, so the pressure rises till the pressure reaches, here there will be delivery side which is at high pressure. Okay, there may be a cylinder, there may be a reservoir or somewhere where there is high pressure, and I want to supply air to the high pressure side. Okay, so when it is coming back, so there will be increase in the pressure till it reaches the delivery pressure, and after that this valve gets open because inside pressure tries to go up, and that's why it gets open, and there will be delivery at the same pressure. There will not be any further increase in the pressure because it is open. Okay, there will be constant pressure delivery till it reaches to the head. Okay, and then again it starts back, and suddenly it comes down here. Okay, so in this way there will be a cycle. It can be again isentropic compression, polytropic compression, or isothermal compression. Okay, so this is the way a reciprocating air compressor works. Is that clear? So I have written the same expressions: adiabatic compression work, polytropic compression work, and isothermal compression work. Okay, but this is an ideal one. But actually, this piston will not hit the cylinder. There will be some place I have to leave in between. It can go up to only this point, and this volume is called the clearance volume. Okay, whatever when the piston is at the top dead center, at the top here or the leftmost, still there will be some volume left, which is called as clearance volume. Okay, so here if there is clearance volume, then this figure will be wrong. Okay, so this is the figure with clearance volume. So here suction starts only from here, this point, and it sucks air up to this, and then compression takes place, and delivery takes place up to here. And after that, when it is going back, actually there is some air trapped within the clearance volume, which is at high pressure. So when it is going back, initially it will not suck air because the inside the cylinder is high pressure. First it will expand up to this suction pressure. Then when it is further goes back, then it sucks air. Okay, so the amount of air sucked gets reduced. It was only from 4 to 1 here. Initially, I have from this point to this point, I have large amount of air is sucked. But here, because of the air that is trapped in the clearance volume at high pressure, first that is to be expanded, and then it starts sucking. Okay, so this is the way it happens. This is the PV diagram for a reciprocating air compressor with clearance volume. Okay, now what is the work done? So work done, if I want to take, I have to take the area inside this cycle. Okay, so what I have to do, you have to take the complete area VDP here and minus this less area, and then I will get the resultant area. Okay, this cycle area. So I can write for the whole one, I already know n by n minus 1, P1 V1 or RT1, P2 by P1 to the power of n minus 1 by n minus 1. That is this formula only. Okay, that I have written here. And from that I have to reduce this particular area. This area n by n minus 1, I have to take P4 V4, and I have to take P3 by P4. P3 by P4 is P2 by P1 only, because this is constant pressure, this is constant pressure. The pressure ratio here and the pressure ratio here are same. So P3 by P4 to the power of n minus 1 by n minus 1. And so here, and another thing is P4 equal to P1, because this is constant pressure. So I can replace P4 by P1. So here n by n minus 1 is common, P1 is common, P2 by P1 to the power of n minus 1 by n minus 1 also is common. The only thing, if I take all of them common, I will be left with V1 minus V4. So n by n minus 1, P1 into V1 minus V4 into P2 by P1 to the power of n minus 1 by n minus 1. Okay. So this is what is called as the work of the compressor with clearance volume. Okay. So what is the difference? Here previously I have only P1 V1 here, and I am having P1 into V1 minus V4, because here the total volume of air sucked is complete V1 up to here. But here the volume of air sucked is only V1, V4 to V1. Okay, that is V1 minus V4. So this is nothing but the volume of air sucked. Okay, because that is reduced. Now this is what is the work that is required. And here we define some things. Okay, from here to here, the total volume, the total cylinder volume is up to V1. Okay, and this V3 that is up to here, this is clearance volume. Okay, this is clearance volume. That is VC. VC is equal to V3 is equal to clearance volume. And from here to here, that is stroke. Okay, so because the piston moves only from here to here. Okay, and so this is Vs. This is stroke volume. Stroke volume plus clearance volume is the total volume. Okay, so V1 is equal to total cylinder volume is equal to stroke volume plus clearance volume. Okay, and V1 minus V3, which is stroke volume, is also called as swept volume, because it is sweeping in the cylinder this much of volume. So V1 minus V3 is swept volume or stroke volume. Okay, and V1 minus V4 is the suction volume. This because air is sucked only from V1, V4 to V1 or V1 minus V4. That is suction volume. You have to know the differences. Okay, V3 is clearance volume, V1 is total cylinder volume, and V1 minus V3 is stroke volume, V1 minus V4 is swept volume. Okay, so this is a thing you have to understand. V1 minus V4 is suction volume, V1 minus V3 is stroke volume or swept volume. And now we define volumetric efficiency, because now total volume of air that is sucked is reduced. Actually, it has to suck this much of amount, but it is sucking only less amount. So here volumetric efficiency is defined as volume of air inhaled at NTP or atmospheric conditions. It is NTP means normal temperature and pressure. Normal temperature and pressure is 1 atmosphere and 20 degrees centigrade. Do you know another thing? Standard atmosphere, standard temperature and pressure, STP. What is the difference between NTP and STP? Anybody knows? What is the difference between NTP and STP? STP, okay, both are, no, both are 1 atmospheric pressure only. And the temperatures are different. NTP is 20 degrees centigrade, STP is 0 degrees centigrade. NTP is 20 degrees centigrade, STP is 0 degrees centigrade. Both are at 1 atmospheric pressure only. Okay, so here volume of air inhaled at NTP by swept volume of the cylinder, because how much air we are expecting to inhale, whatever piston is moving, that much of volume we expect it to inhale or take in. So that is what is called the swept volume of the cylinder, right? So here outside conditions and the conditions at which it is sucking. Okay, so here the conditions may be different. That is P1 T1 and PA TA is atmospheric conditions or NTP conditions. So here PA VA by TA, these are atmospheric conditions or NTP conditions, is equal to P1 into V1 minus V4 by T1. Suction condition, P1 is suction pressure, T1 is suction temperature, V1 minus V4 is the volume that is air is sucked. Okay, this is the formula. And I want VA. The numerator is VA. So I can find out VA as P1 TA by PA T1 into V1 minus V4. Okay. And this V1 and V4 are decided by the design of the cylinder. Okay. So if you know the cylinder dimensions and all, you can find out what is V1 minus V4. If you know the suction conditions and atmospheric conditions, I can find out what is the volume of air that is inhaled at NTP. Okay. So, and the strut volume of the cylinder, it is already written V1 minus V3. And this P1 TA by PA T1 into V1 minus V4 by V1 minus V3. And I simplify it. V1 is Vs plus Vc and minus V4 by V3, Vs. Okay, so V1 minus V3 is Vs. This is strut volume. Okay, and so Vs by Vs is 1. Vc by Vs, this is called as clearance ratio. Clearance volume by strut volume is called as clearance ratio C. Okay, so Vc by Vs is C. And V4 by Vs, I will write it as V4 by Vc into Vc by Vs. And Vc by Vs is C, and V4 by Vs, sorry, V4 by Vc, V4 by Vc means V4 by V3. Okay, so V4 by V3 can be written as P2 by P1. So the velocity, volume ratio is P2 by P1 to the pressure ratio to the power of 1 by n. Okay, this is the volumetric efficiency. Eta V is equal to P1 TA by PA T1 into 1 plus C minus C into P2 by P1 to the power of 1 by n, and this is volumetric efficiency. Okay, so this is an important derivation, and from the figure I can see that volumetric efficiency depends on the pressure ratio and also clearance volume. Okay, so if pressure ratio increase, what happens to volumetric efficiency? If pressure ratio increase, so this negative value increase, so volumetric efficiency decrease. In the same way, if clearance volume increase, can you say anything? From this, it is difficult because something is added, something is reduced, but still P2 by P1 is greater than 1. Okay, so this is greater than C. So I am adding C but subtracting more than C. So volumetric efficiency decreases with clearance volume also. So volumetric efficiency decreases with C, that is clearance ratio, and the pressure ratio P2 by P1. Is everything clear? What is it? Second valve is connected to high pressure cylinder. I am talking about a single cylinder only. It is actually I am taking actually next slide I am going to discuss about multi-staging, but here I am talking about a single stage pressure. Like a single cylinder is there. One side is atmosphere, another side is some high pressure room or high pressure boiler or some high pressure things are there. So I have to suck air from the atmosphere and I have to deliver it into the high pressure side. And so what happens is at low pressure air is taken in and it starts compressing till it reaches the delivery pressure, and after that automatically delivery valve gets open and the high pressure air gets pushed into high pressure side. That is the way we supply it. Is that clear, Mahendra? There is nothing like high pressure cylinder and low pressure cylinder. I am talking about only a single cylinder connected both sides. One side atmosphere, another side to a high pressure thing. Okay? Okay, thanks. Okay, what we have done here, we have taken without clearance, and without clearance we already have seen the area under this. This is suction, this is compression, this is delivery. Okay, and I have seen the work expressions for all the three processes, and for isothermal compression it is minimum, and we have defined isothermal efficiency for that. That is different. Now, because practically I should have clearance volume, it won't heat it, and I have to have some space for the walls also. So I will have some clearance volume. If there is clearance volume, so suction is there, compression is there, delivery up to here only, right? Because the piston moves up to here only, and then it starts moving back. So when it is moving back, there is some high pressure air inside in the clearance volume. First, that is to be reduced. Okay, so expansion takes place here till it reaches suction pressure. Then suction volume, because now it is going back further, so vacuum gets created, inlet valve gets open, and air is sucked. Okay, that is the way this air compressor works. So for the work expression, so I have to take out the total area minus this small area, and if I put this, I'm going to get this particular expression. And we have defined different volumes. Total cylinder volume is V1, and this is the clearance volume, and V1 to V4 to V1, or V1 minus V4 is the suction volume, but V1 to V3 up to here it is stroke volume or swept volume, and the total volume now suction volume is reduced. Okay, it is only V1 minus V4. So we define volumetric efficiency, volume of air inhaled at NTP, and by the swept volume. So if the suction conditions, it depends on the problem. If suction conditions and outside conditions are given different, then I have to find out what is VA. If both are same, I can just take whatever V1 minus V4 is there. Okay? So this becomes 1. Okay? VA is equal to V1 minus V4 it becomes. So V1 minus V4 depends on the cylinder size, cylinder dimensions. And so volumetric efficiency, we got this expression 1 plus C minus C into P2 by T1 to the power of 1 by N, where C is the clearance ratio, that is clearance volume by swept volume. Okay, P2 by P1 is the pressure ratio. So volumetric efficiency decrease as the pressure ratio increase and also as clearance increase. Okay, this is mathematically I have shown. I will show it through PV diagram also. Why the volumetric efficiency decrease with pressure ratio, why it decrease with clearance volume. By seeing the PV diagrams, you will have better understanding of why it is happening. Now you can see increase in delivery pressure decreases the volumetric efficiency. Suppose this is suction pressure, this is delivery pressure. If this is delivery pressure, my PV diagram will be this 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so my suction volume is this much. But suppose my delivery pressure I want at higher pressure, okay, up to here. Then my PV diagram modifies to this 1, 2 dash, 3 dash, 4 dash. So what happens now? The suction pressure decreases. Why? Because there is high pressure air in the clearance volume. But first it is to be expanded, so it gets expanded here. So my suction volume decreases. Now it is increased further up. So what happens? Still it goes in this way, and my suction volume is further reduced. So the amount of air that is taken in gets reduced because of increase in the delivery pressure. Okay. Sometimes you know what happens if the delivery pressure goes on increasing in such a way that this line just goes to the y-axis. Then what happens? So this line, it is increased up to a high pressure where it intersects the y-axis. So this cycle becomes a single line, up and down like that. It sucks, compresses, expands like that. There will not be any delivery, right? It will not deliver any air because by the time it compresses, it goes to the complete stroke will be over. Okay, so volumetric efficiency will become 0. It will not suck anything, deliver anything. It just compresses, expands, compresses, expands, compresses, expands. Whatever is there in the clearance volume, it will be compressed and expanded. It gets expanded and then compressed. So that is the limit. For a single cylinder, there is a limit for the pressure that you can get. Okay. So, but if I want to have still higher pressure, what to do? I have to go for multi-staging. Okay, that we will do in the next slide. And the other one, as clearance volume increases, volumetric efficiency decreases. So how can you show that? So this is again suction pressure, delivery pressure. These are fixed. And clearance volume may be here, or maybe here. Suppose initially clearance volume is this. So I will have the cycle like this, and it goes up to 3 and expands up to 4. Okay, this is the suction volume. Now my clearance volume, if it is increased, so what happens? It goes to 1 to 2, 3 dash, and then 4 dash. So my suction volume reduced. And if it is still more clearance volume, my cycle will be 1, 2, 3 double dash, 4 double dash. So still further reduced. Okay. So this is the way volumetric efficiency decrease with increasing pressure ratio and with increasing clearance volume. Is it physically conceptually clear? So these things will not be there in any book, right? We just be understanding, and any doubt you ask me, right? So actually there is a multi-staging and some problems are there. We will do in the next class. We will stop here. And any questions? So tomorrow we will see the multi-staging, and also we will see some problems of reciprocating it. No questions? Okay, we will go to the story then. So it's a nice story, fresh fish story. The Japanese have always loved fresh fish. So in India also, actually Bengalis, I heard, they like it very much. If there are any Bengalis, I think they can say. Okay, but the waters close to Japan have not held many fish for decades. So what is happening? Whatever fishes are available in the nearby shore, so people eat away, and so up to some distance they are not having fish. So to feed the Japanese population, fishing boats got bigger and went farther than ever. So because to get the fishes, fresh fishes, they go inside the sea further up, and they have to take big boats and get the fish. So the farther the fishermen went, the longer it took to bring in the fish. So if they go far, when they come back, it takes more time. And if the return trip took more than a few days, the fish were not fresh. So the Japanese did not like the taste. So naturally the business is falling down. So these business people, they have to find out some solution. And to solve this problem, fishing companies installed freezers on their boats. So we also take sometimes vegetables for 1 week. We buy from the main market, and we buy it and keep it in the fridge so that it won't get spoiled. So they thought like that, and they have taken freezers onto the boat, and they used to catch fish and freeze them at sea. And freezers allowed the boats to go farther and stay longer, so that they can go more further, and they used to take more fish, and they used to come back. But however, the Japanese could taste the difference between fresh and frozen, and they did not like the frozen fish. Now they have again the problem. These people are identifying that they are frozen fish, and they are not happy with the taste. So again, these business people have to think about it. The frozen fish brought a lower price. So fishing companies installed fish tanks. So inside they have put fish tanks, and they would catch the fish and stuff them in the tanks fin to fin. Okay, completely fill the tanks with the fishes so that they are not frozen. But after a little thrashing around, the fish stopped moving. Okay, initially they move this way, and then they just stay as if it is dead. Okay, they were tired and dull but alive. They are alive, but they are very dull. Unfortunately, the Japanese could still taste the difference. And because the fish did not move for days, they lost their fresh fish taste. And the Japanese preferred the lively taste of fresh fish, not sluggish fish. So how did Japanese fishing companies solve this problem? How did they get fresh tasting fish to Japan? So if you are consulting the fish industry, what would you recommend them? Okay. So anybody, if they know the story, they will know it. Otherwise, can you just think of what they might have done? It's an interesting grow fishes in sea, take people into the sea. No. So it's an interesting answer. We just see here. How Japanese fish stay fresh. To keep the fish tasting fresh, the Japanese fishing companies still put the fish in the tanks only, but now they add a small shark to each tank. The shark eats a few fish, but most of the fish arrive in a very lively taste. The fish are challenged because they are afraid that they may die. They always continuously run and move and run and move. And because of that, they taste fresh. Have you realized that some of us are also living in a pond, but most of the time tired and dull? So we need a shark in our life to keep us awake and moving. Okay. Basically, in our lives, sharks are new challenges to keep us active and taste better. And suppose you are doing a job, and if there is a routine job, like clerical job, suppose, you do same thing routine every time, and you become dull, and your knowledge and everything, it will not work. After that, small calculations also you cannot do. Many times, even housewives like ladies also, it happens like that. So they become dull actually, because unless you make the mind always active and working, it becomes dull. And maybe it is one of the reasons why we conduct exams, right? Exams are the challenges. So when the exam is, you can just really, you have to accept it. The way your mind works at the time of exam and at the time of holidays, right? Your mind becomes so sharp. Just that 1 day or 2 days, whatever you study for exams, you will really, you yourself get amazed at the type way the mind works. It becomes so sharp. So whenever there is a challenge, right, we become more active. The more intelligent, persistent, and competent you are, the more you enjoy a challenge. If your challenges are the correct size, and if you are steadily conquering these challenges, you are a conqueror. You think of your challenges and get energized. You are exciting to try new solutions, and you have fun, and you are alive. Right? So be happy when you have exams, because your mind becomes more and more sharp. Right? Thank you. Anything else?